Hi everyone, I am working from home today. I wanted to film this for you all, so I've moved into my kitchen because the light is better in here. I have been making these beautiful centerpieces, and I thought you'd be really interested to learn how to make one yourself. So these are for a birthday event tomorrow morning. I'm happily working away in my shed, but I've come in to show you how to do this. I just put this to one side. How pretty are they? But I've started out with these pots, these vases, and I have made a separate video on how I taped this vase up. If any of you want to watch it, I didn't want to do it as part of this video because it's a little slow and a little boring, and you know, I can take forever when I make these things. So if you want to watch to see how I did it, I'll put up a separate link, you do that. But I have just done a grid with some tape and filled it with water. And I explained in the other video that the reason I have chosen to go with a tape grid for this instead of using chicken wire is because I'm using some quite delicate stems, and I didn't want to damage the stems of the flowers with the chicken wire, because when you're feeding lots of things through the wire, sometimes you can just slice that wire right through the stem. I didn't want to damage any of the delicate stems, so that's why I've done the grid. So, and I've also got my very fabulous Lazy Susan, which I love using. We start with this, obviously water, with a little base at the bottom, which we're all familiar with, and I'm using some ivy berry, and I like ivy berry, even though it's a weed, but it's prolific. You can pick it off the side of the road, and it does an excellent job. So I'm just creating a little base. Pull some of those off. At the bottom, I'm not trying to entirely cover things just yet, because all the flowers will do that. This is to create some green colour at the bottom, as well as a little, you know, homing area for the flowers. Get rid of some of those leaves. You don't want too many, because this is mostly whites with a little bit of green. So that is all I've done there. You can still see all the tape, but we've got a little shape happening. I'm going to go in now with some big round passive shapes at the bottom. And I'm using these disc bud chrysanthemums. Now, I bought these a few days ago. I removed every single leaf off the stem because we're not interested in the foul leaves of a chrysanthemum. And I've set them out so that they will open up. Often when you buy these, their heads are wrapped in tissue paper, or they're in cellophane, you know, they're all squished in, but we want these to be as big and fluffy and round as we can. So that's what I've done. Set them aside, ready for today's working. But yeah, we pull off any, but that's pretty big. And even though it comes with this big old stem, I only need a fairly short one. And I'm going to start with one of these guys, right low down, there. One more, and he's going to sit up a little bit higher, piggybacking on that guy. Swivel him around. I'm going to put another one here on the other side, and he's going to be low down like the first guy. And I can, he's sitting up. So I've got 3. Ta-da! Ready to go. I'm moving on next to some hydrangeas. Beautiful, big, fluffy hydrangeas. Once again, I don't want any of these leaves. I've already got a little bit of greenery with my ivy. Also to all those leaves just suck energy from the flower, and we want the flower to just focus on it. We don't want it to try and keep, you know, horrible leaves alive. So I've removed them all. See, none, 0. And this is a really big fat head, this one, so he's also going to go down quite low. And we do this to create, or to cover all the mechanics of the bottom. And it does that really, really easily. Another Heidi. He's going to sit up a bit higher. Get rid of all those leaves. You can also bash the end of your stems, but to make sure lots of water gets up to the Heidi to have a drink, you can just do a vertical cut as well. And this Heidi's, oh sorry, I should turn it around. He's sitting above that one. And then I'm putting my third Heidi, leaves off, in here. Give him a vertical cut. So you can see, it's been boring, but we're starting to get our shape. We've got some layers. All right, let's move on to the wispy bits. I'm going to use some delphinium. Once again, I've gotten rid of all the lower leaves because we're not interested in those. And these are quite delicate stems. So I'm going to put 5 of these sort of off to the side at different heights. Starting, and I can't see the tape anymore, so I'm going by feel. So one, I'm trying to get that in the shot. One like that. And then out to the side. Oops. Two. Where am I putting this one? I'll take some of these lower ones off and thread it through the Heidi. I don't know if you can see that. And so the Heidi's holding that in place as well as the tape underneath. 1, 2, 3. I want to have, oh look, double banger. Put another one in quite low. And one in. Yeah. We're starting to get a bit more of an interesting shape. I've got an extra one here, which is on a wonky stem. I'm going to pop him in there too. I think he'd look cute in there. She says. Famous last words. All right. Maybe not, he might not last the distance. So there we go. Got that far. Ta-da, on that side. We need to balance that out, don't we? Because we can't just have, it's like a teapot. Can't have that. I'm going to go in some roses now. I am using these white roses, which I've reflexed. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's not for everybody, the reflexing of a rose. It serves a purpose. And I don't know, I can't decide if I love it or hate it, but these designs called for it, so I did it. So we start by, once again, getting rid of all those leaves. And the reflexing of roses works best when when the rose is sort of older, and it's quite soft. Normally, you know, when you're buying a fresh bunch of roses from the florist, you want to look for ones that have got nice firm heads that are fairly tightly closed. All these sepals should be up and around the outside of the rose, not coming down like this. All these things indicate an old rose, but that's what I need to reflex a rose. And when you're doing event work, you want those flowers to look like their main point in living is being there on that day to look fabulous. We don't have time for them to slowly open up over, you know, the hours and the days, you know, after the event. They've got to look good on the day of the event. So to reflex the rose, the petals need to be soft, otherwise it won't work. And sadly, quite often, the local roses don't reflex very well. These imported ones, you know, I've only got one imported thing here, which is these roses, but it's what we do. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Shush, Kelly, get on with it. We start by removing the guard petals. So the guard petals are always these outside ones that are usually a bit green, and they're tough, you know. They're sort of they feel like a cross between a petal and the sepals, but their whole role is to guard the inner flowers. So all roses have them, but you got to get rid of them to do this. And then we start by very gently, with dry hands, don't have soggy wet hands, we flip the petals back, and we just go, put your finger in and then turn it upside down from the base with your thumb. If you've got short nails, that's even better, because we don't want, you got to be super gentle because you don't want to tear them or bruise them. So you just go round for about 2 to 3 layers of petals until you've got this situation, which looks just stupid, doesn't it? So the next thing you do is, once you've got to that stage, you go in and fold the next one over. I don't know if you can see that. So rather than flexing it back, you roll it. Can I show you? You just turn it in like that. And you do that for the next couple of layers. And you just have to choose the petal that's next in line, and you'll be able to see. You just keep going around and around. And then you'll get to a point where you don't want to do it anymore. And then you just spread them out like that. So the rose has gone from looking like that to that. So you can see it's just got a little bit more, je ne sais quoi. It's just got a little bit more pizzazz. Looks bigger, more open, more event worthy. So I'm going to put one of these guys right here. It's very glary, isn't it? All the white. I hope you can see it okay. I'm going to put 3 roses in this design. So I've got one there, and I'm going to put 2 more on this side. I did these earlier so you don't have to bore yourself silly. I think one's going to go in here. Where's the other one going to go? Do I want it here? I think I do. I'm going to pop it in there. I always say with when I'm doing lots of flower arrangements, they're sisters, not twins, so they don't have to be identical to each other, but the aesthetic and the flow needs to be similar when they're going to be on a table. And you see we've used 5 delphinium, but I've only used 3 disc buds and 3 roses and 3 heads of hydrangea, and this is already a big old full bowl of gorgeous flowers. And it's looking great. It's not done. We're going to go in next with some cosmos. So pretty, so delicate. So we wanted these to be nice and whimsical. And once again, anything with the, tendrily type stems is good, but we don't need too much of that excess greenery because it just goes a bit bleh. I'm going to thread this through on the opposite side to the delphinium in the interest of balance, very delicately and carefully through the hydrangea because I don't want to bruise those white petals. My cat's outside meowing at me. So now this one's got a lot of this garb. We don't want it, and I don't want those either. I just want the flowers and the buds. Drop my snips. Glad I've got shoes on. One up high. One of these. So I'm thinking maybe in there. And these are all just sliding in super easy because there's nothing really preventing, there's nothing preventing the stems from going into the water. They're just sliding on in. I think another one. Oh. And bendy stems are your friend, especially in a design like this. This one's going to go in the front somewhere, I think, in here. Go. And the beauty of the Lazy Susan is that you can just turn everything easily so you can see how it's looking on all sides. So I think that's looking pretty good. There's just a few gaps that I want to fill in. I've got some lovely Queen Anne's lace, which is arguably also a weed, but whatever. I like it. It's going, I'll put one in down here. So we're going for balance as well as asymmetry, if layers and whimsy. Another one over here. And it's sort of soft and floaty. Now, there's a few gaps inside, and I don't want to be able to see any of the tape, which, I'd have to be looking pretty hard to do. But I want it to look beautiful no matter what angle I'm looking at it. So I'm just going to fill in with some little lisianthus, and I'm getting rid of anything green, anything knobbly, because I want to be able to just pop that in and not, fight with it. And I'll only need a few of these. And get rid of all this stuff. See how that's got a jagged edge there? That's just going to make my life difficult. So I cut it off to give it a nice smooth one. And I think this would look nice. Where am I putting this guy? Probably in here. Threading it through the hidey. And this is all in the interest of depth. And so that, yeah, no matter what, if you're looking over top, you go, oh, wow, look at that. There's a little flower in there too. And it's perfectly placed. It's not jammed in. It's got a, you know, it's got a reason for being there. This is going on threading this in between the hydrangea flowers, the delphinium stems, and the tape. There we go. Another little point of interest. And this one's going to go in here. And maybe this guy too. I'm putting it, there's a little space just in here. I don't know if you can see that there. Which, while the mechanics are covered and that's all good, the attention to detail is important. And that it's got a little point of interest. So I've just popped that, where is he? There he is there. And then I feel as though what would finish this off is if I've got all the cosmos on this side and all the delph on this side, I want to marry the two together, and by doing that, I'm just going to put one bit of cosmos over here. And there it is. How easy was that? How long did that take? 20 minutes, and then I'm waffling on. So if you were to do that at home, you could easily do this in under half an hour. And you make a beautiful table centerpiece for your next dinner party or your Christmas day or whatever. Yeah, they're easy to do. If you take the time beforehand to sort your vase out, get your structure right, prepare all your stems, everything's nice and clean, it's nice and easy, and it'll come together beautifully. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Bye.